What's up, guys? It's Lee Barrison with the Be Better podcast, coming to you live from the Infinity Real Estate headquarters here in Bakersfield, California. And before we get started with this podcast, first off, I just want to thank everybody out there who has taken the time to subscribe to our podcast. I also want to thank everybody out there, or perhaps, that's given us a rating, whether it be 1 star or 5 stars. I just really would like to, bring content with this podcast. I hope, something out of this podcast you can apply to your life and to your business. And that's about it, guys. So, with that being said, I wanted to share this story with you today, right? Because it's a very, very interesting world that we live in right now. There's a lot of stuff going on right now. Currently, we've got all the Black Lives Matter movement going on because of the late George Floyd that unfortunately passed away on the 25th of May. But it's very, very interesting to me because this year has been more of a challenge for me, and I don't know about you guys, but it's been an extremely challenging year in 2020. Before the beginning of the year, I was really looking forward to, taking off and building our business and continuously, move forward as we do. And it's interesting, the first week of January, I had a freak accident and slipped on a step and completely broke 3 of my ribs on the right-hand side. And I'm thinking, okay, rough start, no big deal, right? It took about 6 weeks to recover. In the interim, I actually broke my ribs again from sneezing. I had a sneezing attack. So, it took about a good 6 to 8 weeks for me to fully recover. And then just after that, in early March, I got the coronavirus. And I got it bad, guys. I sat in bed. I've never been this sick in my entire life. But I got the coronavirus, and I actually, laid there in bed for almost a good month, right? And it was pretty spooky. It was pretty gnarly, I guess is the best way to put it. But fortunately I recovered from the coronavirus, right? And then all of a sudden the coronavirus pandemic takes place, right? And the whole country, the whole world shuts down, which ultimately affects our business, right? As salespeople, entrepreneurs, business owners, whoever you are out there. And, if you can only imagine, it does affect real estate sales. Not a lot of people want to sell their home. Not a lot of people want to buy a home during the pandemic. And so, of course, shortly after, recovering from broken ribs and recovering from having the coronavirus myself, getting back on my feet, the whole country shuts down. Whoa! Crazy. Here we are in the first week of June. And as of last week, again, like we talked about, the late George Floyd got murdered by a cop in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And, it was very, very unfortunate. I think we can all agree about that. But the whole world is in chaos right now. Not the world, I apologize, but the whole country is in absolute 100% complete chaos. Riots taking place every day, every night. People, they're short fused, right? There's people walking on thin ice, and mind you, forgot to bring this up, but there's over 20 million people that have filed for unemployment since the pandemic took place. So here we are, start of the year, broke 3 ribs the first week of January, right? Re-broke my ribs shortly after getting back on my feet, got the coronavirus, down for a month, couldn't even move, bad shape. Once I recover, boom, the pandemic shuts down the world. And obviously it affects my business, affects my mindset, affects everybody's mindset. And then a murder takes place in Minneapolis, and now there's riots, people are looting, buildings burning, people robbing, people stealing, people protesting, and it's crazy, right? It's crazy. But here's the great thing about this, is I was on the phone with my best friend yesterday, and we were talking about all the things that we should be grateful for, right? Although we're in a time in our lives where things are a little bit weird, right? But if you really, really sit back, if you just sit back and enjoy the music, if you sit back and look outside, right? There's birds, there's, trees, there's all this good stuff that God's given us. But yet we fail to pay attention to the small things like these things during these times because we're so hyper focused on what's happening in our world that we tend to forget about the clouds in the sky, the great weather that we still have, our health, our family, the food in the fridge, we've got a vehicle, we've got a house, we've got all this stuff that we should be absolutely grateful for. We've got friends, we still got a business, right? And I think that in this time, it's very, very important. After my conversation with my good friend back east, I think it's extremely important to maybe just set aside all the chaos, get all the noise out of your head, right? But just start thinking about the little things in life. Look in the sky, blue skies, clouds, good weather, trees, birds, There's a lot of cool things out there that we can still focus on and kind of take the focus off of all the noise, all the stuff that's taking place on social media, all the stuff that's taking place personally in our own lives perhaps, right? But here's the great news also, right? We were talking because this is 5 months into this 2020. Today's June 2nd. And, what I'm excited about is that there's still 7 months in 2020 to make this thing turn around and make it all go, right? Just like my goals before the year began, I absolutely wanted to crush it this year. I had so many goals and ambitions for 2020, and yet in these 5 months, I've fallen short. They've all fallen short, but I've got 7 months, more than a half a year, to turn this sucker around. But in order to do that, I've also got to remain focused on the things in life that I can control, and I also need to remain focused on the things that God's given us that we're totally blessed with that we fail to pay attention to, right? Because again, it's all about perception. It's all about perception. And if your perception is focused on the things that you can control in your life and the things that you've been blessed with that don't require any money, then your perception will change, right? There's a lot of craziness going on. And who's to say? There may be more craziness going on. But we cannot control that either. So guys, I'm going to leave that with you. I'm going to leave that message with you. I hope it resonates in your mind, okay? And I hope that you got a small takeaway from this. But just remember, it's all about your perception of where you're at today and where you're going to go. Because that should excite you. So with that being said, guys, I hope everybody out there has a great, great day. A very productive day. Remember to focus on the things that you can control, and remember to look at what God's given us. All the nature, all the foliage, the oceans, the seas. And remember that tomorrow is a brand new day. Have a great day, guys.